Let's just wobble that up, and let me just wobble that up. Right, so this is a really interesting show today, I think, because it's something that everybody wants and has a problem with. Let me just see if it's, yeah, it looks like it's going out. Let me just hear the audio. Yeah, I think we're live. Just wish I knew what the URL was. Anyway, so the thing is that every startup is concerned with is how to make sales, because obviously the trouble is that when you're starting out, by definition there are no sales, and then it's a question of how we go from zero to a thriving business. And obviously you can try and recruit people, do word of mouth, do social marketing, content marketing, video marketing, but more likely you're likely to run ads. But the trouble with ads is that they're super expensive, and you don't know what return on investment you're going to get until you actually test them. Plus there's the other problem, is that when you're starting out you don't even really know if your offer actually sells, and in particular we don't know if the way that we present our offer really sells. So how on earth can I promote this live stream with a massive headline like "How to Make Sales Guaranteed"? Okay, that's a pretty wild claim, but I think it's as true as it can get. Assuming your product is sellable, okay, there has to be a caveat. So assuming your product is actually sellable, how to get sales guaranteed. So how do we do that? Wouldn't it be great if I just told you? Yes, so here I am just telling you. So basically, the number one way to get sales guaranteed is with partners, because the thing about partners is that they're already doing it. Okay, they already have a list. They already have tested their conversion, and all you have to do basically is to persuade them to tap into it. Now obviously it's going to cost you something. You're going to have to split the profit with them or pay them a commission or something, but as I always like to say, 100% of 0 is 0. Okay, so 50% of anything equals something. Okay, so that's why we want to do it like that. But they have everything already tapped out. Okay, and that's why we can kind of guarantee that we're going to get sales, because they just have to tap in to their existing customers. They're in a related or can't even say that word, related or complementary market. Okay, they're not a direct competitor, but they have all the access to all the people that you need. They know what their audience responds to. They've probably got them on a list, as I say. So that's really it. So obviously there's a problem with this, in that basically we have to be able to find those partners, pick the right ones, qualify them, and indoctrinate them to what we're doing, and that's the job, if you like. That's what we have to. Why can't I find me bullet points? That's what we have to. Oh, it's over there. That's what we have to do, those 4 things. But the great thing about these is that we only have to do it once, and if we spend the time doing it for one partner, they could bring us in. Well, it could be any amount, but but one partner could, for instance, bring us in $100,000 of sales just with one partner. So the time you invest in sorting this one partner out, could be worth 6 figures to you. So is that worth doing? Well, I think it is. But what we want to do is we want to find, A, we need to be able to find the partners, and B, we want the right partners I used to kind of be of the belief that any affiliate was a good idea because they're doing something for you. But the trouble with that thinking is that a lot of affiliates are not very good at what they do, and really you want affiliates that can what should we say, grow your business, not just kind of suck the life out of it, and not just discount it and spam it and put it in a bad light. Okay, so really what we're really looking for is the right partners, which means that they can actually, as I say, grow the market, and that probably means that they have a list, for sure, that they're that they're making a profit, and ideally that they can add value to the offer, which means probably that they have their own resources. They might have their own training, they might have their own complementary things. They've almost certainly got channels to market established, so that they've kind of got customers ready. But we'll talk about the channels later on, because that's a specific concern there. But assuming that that's all hunky-dory, the right partners will help us to grow the product and do it. Now that's good, because that also is a big clue as to how we will find those partners. So rather than sticking out a blanket whatever, or even advertising for them, or just picking anybody, if we know that they are have their own list of customers, they're profitable, and they have their own channels to market, and they add value to the thing, then it makes finding them a little bit easier, because they are going to be obvious isn't the right word, but they're going to be what's the word I'm looking for when I say obvious? They're going to be visible. Okay, so if we're looking for somebody who has access to a market, then basically we can look to the market, and if we either use organic search, or we use an advert spy, or we look at directories, marketplaces, magazine, let's click press really, press, which could also include magazines and can't spell, and that kind of thing, then they should be there. And it could well be that they're used actually by our competitors, and that isn't necessarily bad. It's up to them who they want to work with. If we've got a better product, or we can be more advantageous to them in some way, then they may prefer to work for us, but otherwise we just need to find people until they are ready to work with us. If we don't want to go with people who are working with our competitors, or they won't go with us because they're happy with their current situation, then then in particular we need to look at complementary markets, vertical and horizontal markets, and that kind of thing. I don't know where that came from. Complementary markets, to get them to to add to what they're doing, and also related industries and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, whatever it is that they are doing already, again, they will be visible in the marketplace. So you know, that's the biggest clue. You know, if you know, if even if they're you know, only listed as you know, a solo email list, or they run an e-zine list on you know, what we're trying to do, you know, they're going to be, again, they're going to be visible you know, in that thing. You know, if they're good in organic search and they've got market share and they're respected, again, you know, simply when we Google them, you know, they're going to come up. You know, it's unlikely that they can be doing, you know, much business if they're not advertising. So again, we can use one of the advert spies, you know, to you know, to see what kind of ads they're running. And so we could, you know, use an aggregated spy like this one. I just don't remember the name of it. I had the name then and I forgot it. It'll come to me. I'll post it, you know, below the video or something. Anyway, I think it begins with F, but I can't remember what it is now. But I'll remember at the end. But anyway, there's an advert spy. You can basically just type in, search in with some sort of combination of search and type. It's quite a good word, search in. Quite like it. I'll write it down because that's another word we've invented today. Anyway, so you can just search in excuse me, the keyword, and it will show us you know, companies, and then we can click through the companies, and it will show us you know, an aggregate view from a lot of different spies as to what adverts they're running, what networks they're running, what the ads actually look like, what keywords they're coming up for, all that kind of thing. I just wish I could remember the name, but it's gone out my head. Anyway, it's free to use for the base level, you know, to do your first kind of, you know, scan, and because it does, you know, multiple tools at one time, I like to use it because it's you know, it gives you a good overview very quickly of what's going on, you know, across the board, and then if you want to, you can, you know, drill right down. But you know, anyway, as I say, you know, it's if they're not advertising, you know, to the market, then, you know, how are they you know, getting market share? If they've got their own list, then, you know, they may be listed on some sort of solo email directory or an e-zine directory, or simply, if we, you know, as I say, Google search for, you know, whatever the likely query is, you know, for, you know, that would apply to your thing, whoever comes up as the you know, purveyor of you know, information, they're probably the people that you want to try and partner with. So it's really kind of as obvious you know, as that. You know, once you've found them and you shortlist them, you know, maybe you want to go deeper into their financials and how big their market share is. Maybe you want to talk to them and see you know, exactly how they do it. But you know, that's our big clue. You know, if they're not visible in the market, then it's not that likely excuse me, that they'd be able to sell, you know, our product. Yeah, there are obviously some cases where what's going on is kind of hidden, you know, from view, like, you know, distributors and wholesalers. You know, they would tend to you know, build up a client list of you know, of their customers, and that may not be so visible to us. But again, you know, you can you should be able to you know, type in, you know, things like, you know, distributors for and wholesalers and that kind of thing. If you know, if that's what they do, or if it's import export, again, you know, if you type those kind of words in, you know, Google should show us the most you know, kind of prominent companies for that, and that's our first clue. So, you know, that's pretty you know, straightforward. You know, when you're doing that research, you'll probably find you know, all their contact details you know, anyway, but if not, you know, there are services who will you know, help you to find you know, those people. I mean, it could be you know, again, that, you know, if you use something like LinkedIn, you might be able to find them, but again, you know, that's you finding them. It's not, it doesn't really prove that they're, you know, visible in the market. So that would be a two-step process where you'd shortlist them on LinkedIn, and then you'd find out how visible they are in the market. Because if they're not visible in the market, if they don't have a list, if they're not an active VAR, if they don't have, you know, some leverage of their own, then, as I say, they're not really the people, you know, that we want. We don't really want just any old affiliate partner. We actually want people who can bring us scale, really. So that brings us to, you know, another neat question, really, which is, you know, to make sure that we have the right people. And in order to do that, you know, basically we want to, you know, qualify them. So again, you know, if they're, you know, visible in the market, that's obviously, you know, a huge thing. If yeah, we check their financials, that's, you know, another huge thing. But, you know, basically, if we got to the stage where we're dealing with, you know, potentially thousands of applications, or even hundreds, let's say hundreds, then, you know, how can we make that more manageable? How can we make sure that we get, you know, the right people? And the simple answer to that is that we, you know, we basically do, you know, a survey. It's in the, you know, the guise of a, you know, an application form. You know, we might call it a partnership form to make it sound less, or to make it sound more chummy. And in that, we just need to work out what the, you know, what the main criteria that is important to us is. So, you know, how will you promote is, you know, one of them. Yeah, that's a fair question. Nobody should really have a huge answer to that. Sorry, a huge problem to answering that. You know, what sales, you know, what turnover have you got now? I think is a bit, you know, cheeky, a bit personal. But I think fair enough is, you know, how many units. You know, if it's a service, it won't be units, but you know what I mean. You know, how many units do you expect to sell per month? Okay, because that's a fair question. You know, they're saying we want to do business with you, so you say to them, well, how much business, you know, will it be? Are you going to sell 5, 50, 500? You know, how big a, you know, how big a thing is it? Now, the reason why I asked the question, how will you promote? Because although that's not necessarily, you know, any of our business, it is, you know, of concern, and the reason for that is, you know, if they do email stuff, you want to make sure that they're not spamming. So, you know, if they say that, you know, that their main, you know, vehicle isn't, you know, email, then, you know, you can take that concern off the table. You know, straight away. So, you know, that's one good thing. But the other thing is, yeah, if they say they do, you know, CPC, then you want to make sure, I mean, obviously, that you've got a policy in place, but, you know, it might be that you don't want them to, you know, to use your brand, you know, so reserve, you know, brand name, which is very common these days. But you know, if they're bringing, you know, if all their ads are in CPC, either they've got a big budget, or, you know, they're really good at it and they get good ROI. But, you know, really, you know, what we really want them to say is, you know, that they have their own list, you know, or their own customer database or something like that. Because that means that they're spending their money, which may be CPC, but they're spending their money to create their own brand, yeah, their own VAR kind of service, and then obviously then they can just promote you to that list directly. But that means you won't be appearing in the CPC list, and you won't be creating a head-to-head kind of thing. You know, of your own product in the marketplace. They're not competing with you directly, which again could be, you know, a problem if you're both doing CPC. And again, I guess that's why, people try and reserve their brand name. So what did I put crosses there? Anyway, that's that's why it's of concern. So if they're not emailing, then we know they're not spamming. If they're not doing CPC, then we know that they're not competing with us. And if they say own list or own channels or own network or whatever, then we know that they actually have an infrastructure in place which we can tap into, and that's really, or certainly from my point of view, that's the ideal partner that I'm looking for. Somebody who's got their own infrastructure already in place that we can just tap into. We are not really looking for people who are willing to experiment and test if they can sell our stuff by using paid ads. I don't really want people to spam people generally. So if they say cold emailing or something, that would worry me. But if they say they've got their own list or their own network or their own infrastructure, any kind of words that mean that, then I'm happy. How much they're going to turn over, what they expect to do, that's good. But this what turnover question, I don't really like that. Because I think that's rude. It's not none of our business what they turn over generally. If it's of concern, then it's probably available publicly under their accounts under Company's House or something to see what kind of size of company they have. But an easy question to that would be how many staff. But again, that's rude because that's about their business, not about ours. So how many staff will be working or covering whatever our product. So if they're going to say they've got a whole team assigned to it, or if they're going to say it's just me, then instantly we know what kind of scale they are. Now, it's not that we're judging them, but it helps us to work out who's who and who needs what. Okay, and then finally, because we're getting on for time now, the other thing that we really want to do, once we've chosen the right people, and we've weeded out the people that we don't want, the question then is then it's up to us to what's going to be the word here, basically it's going to be up to us to fulfill those partners. So what do I mean by that? So I mean we really need to give that, indoctrinate them to what we do. We need to give them the product info that they need. We want to make them specialists in our product, basically, because they're representing us, they're selling it on, they're being a VAR, they're adding value. Obviously they need to know about our thing. We need to give them our tools, so banner ads and whatever else we've any other kind of content we've got. Obviously it'd be really useful if we give them our schedule, so our diary of PR and products and stuff. If we have other things available, like clinics, road shows, white papers, any rebrandable kind of e-docs, anything like that, then they need to know about that as well. So that's our end of it then, basically. Infographics might be another thing that we have. It's our job at this point to educate them and support them as much as we can in selling our product. And remember that one partner could be worth 6 figures to us, so we want to spend a lot of the time that we've saved from having to go to the market directly, to get them up to speed and to enable them to sell our product for us, because that's what they're bringing to the table, and our job is just to make sure that we can that we supply enough that we can help them to do that. So that's quite a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, ideally there needs to be a procedure there, and ideally that wants to be something that's trackable. So one of my new SaaSes coming on board very soon is the onboarding framework, and it's basically a tool that will let you make sure all of this is in place. It gives them easy access to it, and it gives you the tracking data on it, and it basically adds a level of if you like, gamification to your VARs. Okay, but everything I've mentioned, your diary and all this kind of stuff, there's a place for all of that in this command center. So it's like a dashboard, really. It's like a kind of a partner dashboard, and we just make it very easy for you to fulfill this, and you can just excuse me, you can just CNAME to it, so it's still under your URL, or just iframe it, or link it. So it's going to seem it's going to be pretty seamless. It's going to seem like your like it's yours. It's all your branding inside. There's none of our branding, but as I say, we just run it off this URL to sign up, really, basically, onboardingframework.com. So there we go. So that's basically kind of it, I think. We're running out of time, but so basically the quickest way to market to guaranteed sales is to partner with somebody who's already doing those sales. How do we find them? How do we know that they're the right kind of people and all that? Basically, as I say, they're probably going to be visible in the market already. If they're not visible in the market, then we're obviously missing something, and we need to work out what that is. But it's more likely that they're going to be visible, or we're just looking for the wrong sign. But that's basically how we can make our shortlist. Once we've got the shortlist, how do we qualify them? As I say, basically we can just do a simple survey. I prefer to word it in a way that isn't probing about their business, but what their plans are to promote our products. And I think that's a totally fair set of questions, because it is a partnership between them and us, and we just want to know what they're planning to do, really. And then once we've agreed to that, then we fulfill our part of the bargain by making sure that they have all the resources and information and everything that they need to do it. As I say, the little SaaS I've got here, onboardingframework.com, that's a very neat way of making sure that you've got everything. As I say, it's your branding. It's going to be basically invisible and seem like it's owned by you, because you can CNAME to it, which basically means you have a subdomain on your own website. So if your company's called acme.com, you could just have partners.acme.com as a subdomain, and that's what would appear in the browser window. So that's basically it, I think. I hope that's interesting, and I hope you see that it's actually easy and possible to deploy this, and why it's such a shortcut. And as I say, I've given you the kind of the quick way to find them, and the quick way to qualify them, and then a great way to manage that and fulfill your end of the bargain with all the things that they need. So that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be on Facebook or YouTube, but I'll post it on Facebook as to where I'm going to be. So that's it for now. I shall see you then. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.